What's up, guys? Welcome to our first ever episode of Double Par. My name's Will. I'm here with Jackson, my co-host, and the second half of Double Par. Super excited to be starting up this journey with y'all. It's something we've wanted to do for a really long time. For me, honestly, ever since I've had a golf club in my hands, since my freshman year of high school. When I met Jackson, he was in 7th grade at the time. We met on our high school's golf team. And yeah, the dream, and our friendship has really progressed from there, and we're really excited to take y'all on this journey. It's going to be a lot of golf together, both individually, matches together, competitions, and of course, bringing in guests on our podcast and also taking guests on the course for fun competitions and matches. So super excited, and excited to get going with our episode today.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too, Will. I think it's important to emphasize we are a guest-based podcast, so we plan to bring all as many top amateurs and pros that we can to the podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
On a frequent basis. And that's something we're really passionate about and trying to grow our platform.
Yeah. How's the world going over there in Kentucky and the golf world for you?
It's pretty good. I'm a freshman on the team at the University of Louisville, and we're just going through our qualifying for our third event of the spring semester. We're halfway through, and I haven't had my best stuff. I'm a couple over par, but hopefully I can get it going. We have 2 more rounds of qualifying for our event in Myrtle Beach coming up in about 10 days. So looking forward to that.
Solid. I know we have a lot of guests coming up. Going to be playing a lot on camera, and my game's, far from tip-top shape, so I got to get grinding. But Bay Hill this weekend. Who do you got there?
Well, I had Bryson coming into it. He won there last year and kind of overpowered the golf course. He obviously brought a lot of viewership to that 6th hole, I think it is, where he drove over the lake on the par 5 and had a flip wedge in. But
the fist bump drive was awesome. Yeah, the fist bump and everything. But I recently saw he just pulled out due to the injury that he had back in Hawaii earlier this year. Yeah. So I guess I would have to go. It's not a very bold prediction, but I'm going to go Roy. Yeah. I think he's won every 4. Yeah, it's a tough golf course that he can. He generally plays well in harder places, I think, and I could see him coming out with a victory. What about you? Yeah, I got my guy Will Zalatoris. I've just been a huge fan of him since he was on the Corn Ferry Tour and even back at Wake Forest. I do think the course sets up for him nicely. He's a really good iron player, good long iron player. And I think he did have a top 10 there in his first start at Bay Hill ever. So, not a bad way to start. I want to transition, get into this episode. We have a super awesome guest. We got Zac Radford coming on. Zac's a really accomplished content creator, a really accomplished professional golfer who's inspired us a lot. He's inspired this channel. And, he's been a great mentor for us so far. I really appreciated getting to know him and all the help he's had. So super excited to dive into that.
Yeah, I think obviously the viewers probably have different perspectives on Zac. Maybe you've just seen his stingers on his Instagram channel, or maybe you're subscribing to his YouTube. But what I didn't even know was his background as an actual competitive golfer. He lowered his handicap dramatically out of college and made a decent run at professional golf in many tours.
The guy's insane. Like, the viewers don't even know half of it. Yeah, it's.
So you should definitely listen so you can hear a bit about his actual golf background.
Yeah. All right, let's hop to it. And guys, please, we've appreciated the support so far, but please, drop a like and subscribe so we can continue to make these videos and travel, and film with our guests. Thanks so much, and hope you enjoy. Welcome back, guys. Here with our guy, Zac Radford. Zac, thanks so much for being here today.
Yeah, I really appreciate y'all having me. Excited to get into it.
Yeah. For those of y'all that don't know, Zac's a professional golfer and content creator who actually hit 100K subs on YouTube recently. Congrats on that.
I appreciate it.
We're a long way off from that right now, as you can imagine. But I don't know. That's awesome. That's kind of what we're looking to. So
yeah, hey, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And I do think kind of formulating a podcast setup and also pairing it with YouTube content is definitely the way to go, and how I would have started if I was just getting going.
That's awesome to hear. Yeah, today we're going to be really talking everything golf, content creation, and life off the course with Zac. Getting into
everything there is to know about the King of Stings, legendary shot. And also just lesser known things like how good at golf you really are. Going from a 12 to a +6, like Jackson mentioned earlier, that's, I kind of feel like my handicap's going the opposite way. I think we kind of want to start off by, taking it way back to the beginning. You've told me a few times you didn't get into the game until later in life. So can you just kind of talk about that and, what your childhood was like without golf?
Yeah. So I grew up playing baseball, played at a pretty high level, played against several guys who ended up playing in the majors. And my Little League team when I was 12, back when Little League was somewhat what everyone played.
Yeah.
And I did play on some select teams and stuff like that, but we won state in Texas, which at that time was a big deal. I think we had to play like 15 games to get out of state.
Jeez, so I don't know. Are you originally from Texas?
I know
that. Okay.
Grew up in San Marcos, right in between San Antonio and Austin.
Got it.
And so, grew up playing baseball. My grandpa played golf. My dad played golf in college.
Okay.
And so I had swung a golf club before, but baseball was definitely the focus. And growing up kind of in San Marcos, that was a hot spot for a highly competitive baseball at the time. And so, definitely still a huge baseball fan, Cardinals fan, born in St. Louis. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I can relate. I didn't start playing until my freshman year of high school. Jackson, I know you picked it up much earlier. When was it for you?
Yeah, I started playing before. I don't remember a time in my life where I didn't have a golf club in my hand, so it's a very unique situation. So I can't relate to that. All right.
See, if that was me and Zach, we would each have like 5 green jackets right now, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
So when did you start playing golf then?
So the first time I remember swinging a club was probably 10 or 11.
Okay.
But I didn't play at all. My grandma and grandpa lived on a golf course, and so he would take me out, and I just liked going to look for golf balls in the pond across the street from our house. And so he handed me this 11 wood, I think it was, and I probably hit it like 90 yards or something, but I thought I smoked it.
Yeah. Stinger or not quite yet?
Not yet, but it is coming.
Yeah.
I feel like you're a pretty good baseball player. What was I changed sports, I guess.
So when I lived in Texas, I was playing, I don't even know, 120 to 140 games a year. And that was the focus. And freshman, sophomore year, during the summer, I did play a little bit of golf. And then my family moved to Nashville, and the baseball program at that time was a joke. So I told my dad, I was like, hey, I'm going to go try golf. So that was kind of that. I felt like when we moved, scouts and college coaches weren't going to be coming to our games. And I was like, my goal was to play in college. And so when I felt like that wasn't really there anymore, I just decided to kind of jump in on golf junior year. So, and the transition was slow.
Yeah.
But my junior year, I think I ended up being the number one on the team towards the end of the year. I think I averaged somewhere around 39 for the 9 holes that year. And then the next year, I think I averaged 35 something for the 9
solid
holes.
Yeah.
My senior year. And that was kind of it. I pretty much put the clubs away after I graduated and thought about walking on some different places. Ended up going to UT, waited tables, went to school full time. I didn't even have my clubs at school until my senior year.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Played like 2 or 3 rounds my senior year.
So you said you put the clubs down when you got to school. I'm assuming were you trying to like pursue a certain major in college and pursue that post college, or was it just school was overwhelming time commitment wise, or was there any reasoning behind that?
To be honest, when I didn't end up playing in college, I didn't have a direction for the game at that point. And I was like, I'm just going to get through school. And I enjoyed going to Tennessee. I bleed orange big time. And waiting tables at night, going to class full time, there just really wasn't any time for it. But working through school and paying cash for school did allow me some opportunity when I graduated. I didn't have a bunch of overhanging loans. immediately out of college that I would have had to have taken care of. So making that choice then, I'm thankful for. Whether or not I would have taken some opportunities to walk on in some smaller schools, maybe. I just didn't have much to show coaches. I could go play. But at that time, a lot of the schools weren't doing walk-ons. Tennessee didn't do walk-ons when I was there. And so I could go play, but I didn't have much to show anyone. And so I was kind of stuck in a way. And so just ended up enjoying school, going to football games, basketball games, watching Chris Lofton drain some threes many years ago.
I'd like to say there's some sort of Vandy-Tennessee rivalry. I think Vandy tries to play that up. I feel like y'all probably don't even think it exists.
Hey, y'all's football team, y'all beat us over the last decade. So it is definitely there.
Yeah.
Need James Franklin back. We were kind of talking about your college life now a bit, and I've heard Will throw around that you did graduate roughly around the end of college as a 12, and you got it to a +6 in a somewhat time frame of a year, which is remarkable. I've played with my dad, and he's a 30, and he's been a 30 since I was too. So, but what did that process look like? And you said that you didn't even have your clubs at school. So how did you lower it so quickly, and what made you start the journey?
Yeah, so pretty much just started out going out to the range and learn how to hit the ball solid. I know that seems super simple, but I would sit there and try to hit the ball as high as I could, hit it solid, as low as I could, hit it solid, the biggest hook I could hit. And then I would start practicing trying to hit 9 shots in a row through 9 different windows. And I didn't really have any lessons. I had a few guys that I trusted that I might say, hey, you mind coming and just looking at this? Am I doing what I'm thinking I'm doing? But didn't really have any coaches. Would just go out there and try to figure it out. And if I was bad at something, for example, that summer, I was the worst bunker player you've ever seen. Like, I would step my foot into the bunker and just fear just engulfed me. And I just wanted to get it out and didn't care where it was, just as long as it was out of the bunker. So for the next 3 months, I spent 2 hours a day, every single day in the bunker. And at the end of those 3 months, it became a joke at my club that a lot of people wanted me to be putting instead of in the bunker, because I was holing out a couple times around fairly regularly if I was in at least a few bunkers. And so that became basically a strength when it was by far my worst aspect of the game. So anytime I would come across something like that, I would just put time into it and would just learn how to get it done. I didn't really have any technique that I was focusing on. I just knew what didn't work and then what worked, and I would just try to get really good at that.
It's a very unique perspective for the game. Like I mentioned, I played forever, and for me, it's always kind of been refining what I'm doing and trying to work on all facets of my game. But I've never really, not to pat myself on the chest, but I've never been at a place where I had a ginormous area where I could knock 12 shots off my handicap. And that must be, pretty satisfying for you though at that time to just see yourself get so much better. For me, it's just, let's keep the ball striking in check. Let's make her 5-footers and keep it out of trouble kind of deal.
Yeah. Surprisingly, thinking back to kind of my mindset through that, if I'm just being real, I didn't realize how good I was getting. Yeah. I wasn't looking at the day to day. And then all of a sudden I looked back and I was like, oh, wow, I shot 22 rounds in a row in the 60s.
Yeah.
Now, none of that was in competition. So that was just me out there playing. But it did kind of happen fairly quick. I went from a 12 to 0 probably in 2 months, maybe 3 months.
That's wild.
I was shooting even par a lot.
Yeah.
And then the mindset changed and I allowed myself to kind of get out of my own way as far as taking it low. And I think a scratch handicap has the capabilities of taking it low, but it's just a mental block from when they get to that 2 or 3 under that they start just trying to save the rest of the round. Don't blow up from here.
Yeah.
And for me, it was well, I'm playing good. Pedal down. We're going at every pen. And so make 8, 9, 10 birdies.
Yeah. No, yeah. I kind of had the same perspective as you. opposite of Jackson because I also picked it up late. And it's like, you know, like you never kind of realize where you're at just because, you know, you're happy and mad like at every point you get to. At first you're like happy with 90, but also like, oh, it could have been 85. And then you're like happy with 80. And then all of a sudden it's 75, it's 70, it's 65. And yeah. So the stinger is obviously a big part of your game that everyone knows. So when in your golfing career did that sort of come about?
Even though I wasn't playing a lot of golf when I was younger, I still enjoyed watching Tiger. Yeah. And I always thought the stinger was awesome. And I learned how to hit it because I couldn't hit my driver. I could not keep my driver on the planet when I first started. So there was days I would just hit stingers off of every single par 4 and par 5 tee because I could keep it in play and my iron game was pretty good. So as long as I could keep my tee shot in play, I was going to play pretty good. And there was tournaments once I started getting into tournament play that I may not pull driver, but like 1 or 2 times around. And I would hit 4-iron stingers every hole. Yeah. And that was just what I did. And I learned how to, you know, hit big shaping shots. I will say a lot of those big shaping shots, I wouldn't necessarily play in the tournament round. Yeah. It's a little more visual.
Yeah. Is it really like a functional shot you'll take into a tournament round?
Yeah. So one of my better tournaments, it was back on the NGA Tour, which used to be called the Hooters Tour. And now it's the Swing Thought Tour. It used to be, I mean, it still is a good tour, but it used to be like most of those guys would go on to play in the Korn Ferry and the tour from that tour. Yeah. And there was one tournament in particular that I believe I hit 2 drivers for the first 2 rounds and had to leave. And I was hitting 12 stingers off of tee boxes in that event. Didn't play great on the weekend. That was one of my first times that Pat and Kazire ended up winning that event, and I wasn't near him after.
You can accept losing to Pat and Kazire. Yeah, I've actually noticed, I feel like more guys, I mean, like you said, Tiger always did it, but I feel like more guys. I even noticed watching the Honda this past weekend, Joaquin Niemann, I noticed Daniel Berger pulling off a lot of like low 4-iron shots off the tee. So I see what you mean. Like, do you think it's kind of growing, like getting more popular?
I think it's a fun shot, but it's also very like versatile as long as the conditions are proper. Yeah. So meaning if it's super wet and it's raining, I'm rarely going to hit a stinger because you're just going to get no roll. But if it's firm and fast, I mean, you can hit a stinger if you're creating decent speed that might roll out 70, 80 yards, just depending on the terrain and the conditions. Yeah. But most of the time, normal conditions, probably rolling out, 40 yards, something like that. Yeah. Most of my stingers would carry between 210, 220, probably roll out 40, 45 yards. That was with the 4-iron. I've got a 3-iron now. Yeah. So we're working.
No more of the old 4-iron, right?
We fixed it twice. We fixed it twice, and I was like, it's time to just lay it to rest. And so we're working with this 3-iron. It's a little different. It's the T200. I really like it, but it is a little different.
Yeah.
How did you break the old trusty 4-iron?
So a while back, I was at Nashville Golf, and I went to hit a shot, and it just felt clunky. Didn't feel solid. And I kind of reached down, I grabbed the head, and I literally just twisted it right off. So that was the first time that it malfunctioned. Then the next time I was in Montana playing a match against Micah Morris, and it was the 4th tee and made contact, and that club head went flying. It didn't come off, it snapped off. So maybe in the re-shafting it, I don't know what happened. Maybe it was just telling me it's time.
That's not good timing. Y'all have a good competitive series going there.
Yes, we did. That was fun.
I want to kind of segue into some of the content creation, bring up, Micah and some of that content. Just sort of how you got started, going from wanting to maybe play professional golf to, how'd you start making YouTube videos and when did that cross your mind?
Yeah. So going back to Instagram's where I started, and I, again, didn't have anything to show sponsors. I was trying to compete. It's very expensive to go out there and play on the mini tours. and I was looking for sponsors. So I was trying to initially give them a reason to, want to sponsor me outside of, I didn't have anything amateur career wise to show them. So I thought if I could build up, some social media following, that might be an appeal to them. And then it did kind of take on a life of its own. But that was, 6 years ago, roughly, when I started on Instagram. Met Garrett Clark, who's GM Golf and part of Good.
Yeah, huge fan of them. Yeah,
knows who he is. And he kept telling me, he's like, dude, you just got to start doing YouTube. He's like, that's where everything's heading. So Garrett, I have to say, I appreciate you pushing me to get going. We met 5 years ago, roughly 4.5, 5 years ago. So yeah, no, he's obviously incredible with content as well.
Yeah, no, I know you filmed a lot of early. Go ahead, Jackson.
You initially started that process with Instagram for trying to grow your platform as a professional golfer. No, there was no sort of content creation in your mind at that time?
Not at all. I did have fun with it and thought it was just a cool, fun thing. And I was playing the back nine at Nashville Golf, my home course, and I was playing with my buddy who also played on the mini tours, and we were just out kind of practicing. And there's this one hole, it's kind of uphill par 5. And I was like, dude, I've got this idea to film this stinger on this hole. And I'd never really done anything like this before, or even really tried to film something in a way in hopes of getting more views.
Yeah.
I was just putting out videos that I enjoyed sharing, but I didn't have a purpose with it, if that made sense. And so I got there and I kind of set the camera up and I hit a shot. I was like, not quite. I hit the second shot. And then I looked back and I'm sitting there watching it and I was like, I think this is awesome.
Yeah.
It's like, hopefully other people do.
Yeah.
And at that point, I think my most viewed video might have been maybe 1,500, 2,000 views, something like that. And I posted that night. And I think it got 10,000 views in the first 15 minutes.
Wow.
And so I was like, oh, I think we're on to something. So that was kind of the start of it. And I'll never forget that video.
That's awesome. Is that still up?
It is.
That's cool.
It's up close. There's a leaf that kind of blows in front. And then it's just a quick little snippet.
Yeah. Love it.
Stinger.
Yeah.
You touched on the balance, kind of between content creation and professional golf. And obviously you got your start as trying to be an aspiring tour pro. And you said 2 years ago-ish that you kind of made the segue to more the content creation side. When was the realization that might be taking the front row seat to your professional golf goals, I guess?
Yeah. So I started looking into creating my own brand, which is Ostrich, my apparel company, and started partnering and doing some projects for other companies. So some of the stuff I wouldn't even post, I would just create content for other companies. And so they would send me a product or whatever type of video they'd want me to make. And it started coming in more and more. And so I was like, I see where everything's going. If I can just really make a solid push for the next few years, then maybe I'm in a place to, hire someone full time to follow me around and almost shoot my own documentary for pursuing the tour. So I decided to just set aside competing and just focus on trying to continue building the platform, and kind of just really enjoyed videography and creating content. So it wasn't that hard of a decision at that point in time, just because the viewership was on the rise and I was enjoying doing it. Love competition and definitely excited about the possibility of getting back into it. But I just enjoy creating content and getting people excited about the game. So whether that's me competing or playing, or creating fun matches with Micah in Montana, or hitting some stingers or chip shots.
That's our goal. Starting up double par. So that's super cool to hear. You kind of mentioned Ostrich. And I know we've kind of talked about this before. You started working with Rowback and then kind of transitioned. And then obviously kind of want to ask about the name. It's pretty unique.
Yeah, we have to know
talk about how that started, how you came up with that.
Yeah, so
wearing it right now looks
yeah.
good.
So it was one of those things. So it's me, my brother, and my brother-in-law who got it started. And it had been an idea for a little while. Worked with Roback. Those guys are awesome. Absolutely loved working with them. But going into that partnership, I had already told them that I was looking to do my own thing. So we, fulfilled the time there with them, and that was great. And everyone was really happy. And it was known before I even went into that I was looking to branch off and do my own thing. So when that time came, we started kind of throwing around ideas of the direction of the brand, what name we would want, kind of what the logo might look like. And we had quite a few ideas. And so
what was number 2 on the table, just out of curiosity?
Well, the problem was so many things are already taken.
Yeah.
And so you've got to look into trademarking and all that stuff. And so we pretty much settled on an ostrich pretty quick.
Yeah.
And the reason was we were all sitting around, and my brother will probably take the reins, saying that he was the one who said it. I don't remember who said it, but someone said, "I want to be not your average birdie. That's what we want our tagline to be." So the ostrich very quickly kind of lined up with that direction. Also with trademarking and everything, the ostrich was available.
Yeah.
And so it ended up just making sense, and it just kind of happened. I know that's not quite some crazy story, but the not your average birdie came before the ostrich.
Yeah.
And then we had, I don't even know, probably 500 different mock-ups of logos.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to keep it simple. I also wanted a secondary logo, which is the feet kind of on the back as well. So that's a little bit the backstory there.
Yeah. How much, I know we've kind of talked about this before, and you said you've sort of learned to do a lot of stuff yourself, and you're kind of a one-man show, which is pretty unique. So how much of, your time and how much have you had to learn with, ostrich and marketing and also even other stuff like editing videos?
Yeah. So I started out, and I still, for the most part, do pretty much everything. I've got some guys that definitely help with some edits. But yeah, when I go to a resort on a project, sometimes I show up and they're like, "Well, where's the team?" I was like, it's me.
This is the team.
So I've got my camera gear, my drone, all that, and we just get to work. And the one thing that I learned through all this, if I wanted to do this as a career and really kind of move forward with making a living doing it, I did have to learn how to do everything myself, because there's times that, finances and money's tight. So I could basically just do everything myself during that time. Then when things were going better, I could kind of ramp it up and kind of push some work off to some freelance editors and stuff like that. So anything that I didn't know how to do, I would type it in on YouTube, and someone's made a video about how to do something everywhere on YouTube. So sometimes it's not the first video you watch, but you watch 4 or 5 and they're all saying something similar, that's probably close to the answer.
Yeah, no, I think we can relate to that already. There's so much stuff like tech and setting up that I don't know about you, but we know nothing about, and I hope it's not too bad right now, but it's just, there's so much to learn.
I heard you got your start, Zach, filming on an iPhone for a lot of your videos.
Yeah, so I started with an iPhone with no microphone, and then I eventually got a little mic that I plugged into it, and I think I hit, I can't remember, 35 or 40,000 subs on YouTube filming just on my iPhone.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So the one thing that I would say in the learning process, just keep putting out content.
Yeah.
Like, just keep getting better. And you want to hit the home run on your first at bat, but just keep hitting a bunch of singles, and just keep putting one foot in front of the other. And hopefully you have that home run once a month kind of thing. But if you hit a bunch of singles, it'll be crazy where you see yourself in 2-3 years.
Yeah. Appreciate that. Yeah. We're looking forward to the journey. It's kind of what we're passionate about, especially for me, made the decision not to play college golf, professional golf, I sort of saw it wasn't in my future. And people like you and Garrett are basically inspired me and shown me like it is still possible to pursue golf and pursue my passion. So it's awesome to, see what you guys have done.
Yeah. And the biggest thing I'd say, and it goes to, you're going to get a lot of no's when reaching out to people. So don't let that like discourage you. Meaning when I first started trying to film content on courses, I was just hopeful that I could pay to play and they would let me film there.
Yeah.
Like to start. And so I was getting all kinds of no's, and then I would finally get a yes. I might send 100 DMs and get one yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's just a matter of time before you get a yes, and, present it well to them and just keep asking. You never know who's going to say yes. And then once you kind of get a little traction, get your feet under you, then go and do the project that is your calling card. Like go find what you want to do that really well. And then you can take that to anywhere you want to go and say, hey, here's what I'm going to do for you.
Yeah.
So that would be the biggest thing. Go find exactly what you want to do it super well one time at whatever venue or whatever that may be.
Yeah.
And then have that as your example. Because that was the biggest thing early on. I didn't really have the type of content I was trying to explain to them.
Yeah.
Instead of just go create it and then show them.
Yeah.
It's way easier to get jobs doing
Appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Sort of find like a good example or like your niche and then kind of go after that. Sweet. All right. So now we want to get into a little game. We call it double par fact or fiction. Obviously first edition for us. So me and Jackson are going to make disputed facts or not about golf. And you're going to say if it's a fact or fiction and defend it. Jackson, you can hit up the first one.
Yeah. All right. So the first one up is the Stinger is more about flash than function.
I would say 9 out of 10 of the Stingers I post on Instagram are more flash than function. However, it has a ton of function on the course, and I might hit it 10 times in a round quite often. Just depends on the conditions and the terrain. So I would say it's somewhere in between. It's maybe a fiction in the Instagram posts, but it is a fact in your normal round. I just don't film my tee shots. I film more shots into the green. It looks better if you're hitting it into the green. I just wouldn't normally hit a Stinger most of the time.
Yeah, there's some of those. There's one like banana slice, like 110-yard slice. Like I've watched so many times, but that one definitely got the job done.
Those are like teetering on shanks.
Really?
Like I think I might know the one that was down in Birmingham was the first big slice that I hit. And I hit it super solid. But to hit that big of a slice, you're like teetering on a shank.
Yeah. I know a thing or two about the old shank. Number 2, the Masters is the best major.
Yes, fact, for sure. You've got to play great over 2 years or have won a massive event. Not that the other majors aren't incredible to have won, but you've got to play well to be in the top 50 or have won a major event to even qualify for this event. And just the history there is absolutely incredible. That's the only PGA Tour event I've ever been. I know it's a major, but it's the only event that I've not competed in as a professional golfer that I've ever been to.
Are you serious? You've never been
not to a PGA Tour event. I caddied for my buddy on the Corn Ferry event.
Oh, that's cool. How was it going to the Masters? That's
absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
Like if you're a golf fan and you have the opportunity, just make it happen. I've been there twice now. And the one thing that you don't see on TV is the undulation and how hilly it is. Like until you go there in person, you just can't conceive.
Yeah.
Like the shot on number 2 down to that par 5.
Yeah.
It's like hitting off of a cliff. Almost.
Really?
It's crazy.
You don't have the birds, chiming in like the TV in person now. Right. That's missing that.
That is true.
This is the pimento sandwich, all it's cracked up to be.
So I'm going to have to say fiction because I don't like pimento cheese.
Wow.
So now the peach ice cream sandwiches, I would have 10 of those
are so
each
good.
day.
Wait,
Unreal.
have you been, Jackson?
I've been twice actually, and you couldn't have said it better about undulation.
it's honestly unreal. Like I walked right in. I think I was walking on the crossway, maybe 100 yards in front of the tee box on hole 1, and it might go up to hole 9 right there. But you look around and it's it's rolling hills almost.
Yeah, and it's like right in the middle of town, basically.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna get to the next one here. Neyland Stadium at Tennessee is the best place to catch a game in the SEC on a Saturday. Fact or fiction?
Absolutely, because it's a sea of orange. And I mean, when you're just walking down the street going into the stadium and all you see is just orange. I mean, I have been on CBS painted up on the front row back when I was in school there. Yes, that was me. So we might have put our shirts on at halftime because Florida or Tim Tebow was killing us. But it was fun, at least for the first quarter when we were only down a touchdown or so.
I mean, that's very have you been to a Tennessee game at Vandy? Because that's actually a sea of orange or a sea of whatever team we're playing as well. I have. Hate to talk bad about Vandy, but it's true.
Yes. No, I've been there and I've seen the sea of orange here in Nashville as well.
Yeah, it's not a good look. All right, last question. Wolf Creek is the coolest course you filmed at.
I would have to say second.
Okay. What's one?
Wolf Creek is awesome, and I would highly recommend going to play it. But the coolest, most memorable round of golf I've ever had actually wasn't at a very nice course.
Really?
But the views were insane. It was Ko'olau.
Okay.
Hawaii.
Oh, that's actually one of the first videos of you I've watched. Yeah.
That was insane. Like the ball would just be suspended as you're hitting towards the Ko'olau Mountains because you're so close.
Yeah.
But the ball would never go above the mountain.
Yeah.
Like visually, it was insane. Unfortunately, I heard they closed.
Yeah, I saw that video.
So that was definitely very sad.
That's the Jurassic Park logo on there, right? Yeah.
That course was so much fun. My buddy Ryan was there with me, and that was a round I'll never forget for sure.
You said it's not a very good course, though, or it wasn't.
So
that great?
It wasn't well kept.
Okay.
So the fairways were probably like most decent courses rough, and the greens were probably rolling like a 4. But honestly, it didn't matter.
A 4? I don't know if I've even heard of it.
No joke.
Wow.
It was the slowest greens that I've ever putted on. But it honestly didn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, it was just cool that you were even playing golf in that location.
Yeah, sure.
Because you felt like you were in Jurassic Park. And I think some of the scenes, if I could be wrong, but I thought I heard Ryan tell me some of the scenes of Jurassic Park were like filmed like not far from
That's wild.
So
wow.
I could be wrong on that, but I think that's what I remember.
I'm surprised the Broadmoor. I thought that might be sort of up there for you. How was that experience?
So as far as an experience, that is number 1.
Yeah.
The Broadmoor, I can't say enough good things about it, but memorable golf rounds and golf courses. Ko'olau is going to be tough to beat.
Yeah.
But the Broadmoor, the accommodations and the courses there it's hard to even put it into words. Like all the food there, almost every meal I have is like, well, that's the new best meal I've ever had.
No way.
So I would highly recommend it if you're able to go, for sure.
Yeah. Do you have any places circled on the schedule for maybe this year that you're looking forward to?
So nothing confirmed yet, but looking at maybe the Greenbrier, which would be really fun.
Yeah.
Looking at I'm completely blanking. What is the place down in Florida in between Tampa and Orlando?
And it
starts with an S. It's a resort. That's bad. It's a very well known
Stream
place.
Song.
Stream Song. Yes. So looking at hopefully going there. Might be sneaking back to the Broadmoor.
That's awesome.
Hopefully that works out.
Yeah.
And then a few others. So
yeah, we'll be looking forward to it. That'll be awesome. We've talked a lot about golf, but I think both of us would kind of love to hear what your life off the course is like, because I know a lot of your content is, strictly golf focused. So like, who is Zac off the course? What do you like to spend your time doing?
I do enjoy working out.
Yeah.
So I work out quite a bit, like staying active. I will say the last several years, it's the golf course and editing and working out that's a large portion of it.
Yeah.
To be able to put out all the content that I do and not have anyone full-time working for me, it takes a lot of times roughly like 60 to 70 hours a week.
Wow.
To consistently. I would say the last few weeks, I haven't quite done that. Tried to take it a little easier before the season gets ramped up.
Yeah.
But love going to games, sports games. But the last few years, honestly, it's been grinding content and editing. And I do enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
So there are times in an edit when I've edited 57 shot tracers that, that's not like real fun in that moment, but it allows you to do everything else.
Getting bogged down and like putting in shot tracers and stuff like that, does it ever kind of frustrate you and make you think like, oh, I wish I was just on the golf course, like, casually with my buddies right now?
I mean, yes and no.
Yeah.
I do enjoy the times that it's just me and my buddies going out playing.
Yeah.
And when I come home, I do try to pretty much just do that.
Yeah.
I don't film a whole lot here in Nashville the last year. Try to keep the filming when I'm on the road or at a different site. So that does allow me to come back here and kind of knock it around with the buddies. And that is something that I didn't do for a period that I was kind of necessary. And you kind of get into the rhythm of just filming and playing. And it is a little different style of golf. Normally, I would say trying to film and play, if you're the one filming, it's probably like a 2-shot penalty per 9.
Really?
Because there was a long period of filming that I didn't shoot in the 60s, and 10 rounds or so roughly last year that I played not filming, all but one were in the 60s.
Yeah.
And so it is one of those things that it is a little bit of a handicap, but at the same time, I enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
It's about the content rather than, I'm always trying.
Yeah. Yeah. Any like stories about your life, embarrassing or not, like on or off the golf course that, aren't on camera that you can tell us?
Let's see.
I've seen the Chipotle ones with some of the GM guys back in the day. Okay. Those are awesome.
So that one. So we do this video. Matt ends up losing, and the loser had to sing in public. So
that's a great one.
There's this whole mall outside area, shops and restaurants, whatever. So we settle on he has to go sing in this Chipotle. Well, I've got to film this.
Yeah.
So how do I film this? There was a lot going on. And so at this time I was still filming on my phone. And so I've got my phone on a tripod with the mic, and I just walk into Chipotle and I'm just standing there for 45 seconds. And all these people are just looking at me. That 45 seconds felt like 2 hours. But I had to be in position for when he comes walking through the other door, and I've got to give it to him. He nailed it and he sold out. I thought he might come in there and be kind of quiet singing it.
Yeah.
Every single person. He even had one of the chefs in the back start singing.
No way. You know, Matt, we don't, but that sounds like Matt Sharp from what I've seen.
Yes.
Videos. Yeah.
That's awesome. So I got to give him credit. He really, that was the penalty, but he nailed it. I didn't even think it was embarrassing.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I thought your punishments, what were yours? Paying for somebody else and then
me and Steven had to walk up, ask for directions, and then walk the other way.
Yeah, while they were eating at Chipotle.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
So we were asking for directions to Chipotle, and literally the sign was right above them.
Yeah.
And they were so confused. It was pretty funny. I enjoyed doing those kind of things. We haven't done that kind of stuff in a little while, but it's all in good fun.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. What was more embarrassing, recording Matt singing or what you had to do?
To be honest, recording him singing.
Yeah.
Because that 45 seconds to a minute that I was in there, everyone's just wondering what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't imagine.
Everyone in the restaurant's just looking at me, and I was just giving them little head nods. Hey, hey. So yeah, that was fun though.
Yeah. For sure. That's awesome. Yeah. So now we want to get into what we call the double par questions. Sort of a way we want to, traditionally wrap up our episodes. 8 questions because typical hole is par 4 and 8 is, double par. So Jackson, do you want to jump into the first question?
Yeah. Pretty generic one here, but if you had to say, what would your dream foursome be?
Oof. Tiger for sure. That's no question about it. Dream foursome.
It's tough.
That
me and Jackson we're welcome to be in there or not. We won't be hurt if we're not.
Hey, come on. So that'll be one foursome. Y'all two, me and Tiger.
I love it.
And then Tiger. So I'm a huge Cardinals fan and huge baseball fan. So I would have to say Albert Pujols would be in there.
Is he a golfer at all?
So slightly.
Yeah.
So his son is a golfer.
Okay.
And so, because he was friends with Garrett.
Really? Interesting.
And so I would say Albert. And then if they didn't have to be alive, I would definitely say Bobby Jones. Like I think that's probably an answer that a lot of people would say, but I think that would be super neat to go and just hear from arguably one of the best of all time. So, but Tiger would for sure be in there. Pujols, just because I'm a huge Cardinals fan.
That's awesome.
He is a legend there.
Yeah, no, I agree. Tiger, I don't know what mine is, but Tiger's a lock for me.
Yeah.
Next, if you could play any position in any sport that wasn't golf, what would it be?
Shortstop for sure.
Is that what you were back in the day?
Pretty much. I played a little second as well, but middle infield, shortstop mostly. So that was pitched a little bit, but honestly got popped in the face when I was younger on a shot right back up the middle. And I was like, yep, no, I'm good at shortstop. So.
All right, next question here. Probably a big Tennessee win after this one. Probably football. Basketball team's pretty good too, though. But you get one night out with any notorious Tennessee athletic alum. Who is it, and where are you going out in Knoxville?
It is Peyton Manning, and if it's not at night, we're gonna go play at Holston Hills. So that's what Peyton Manning, no question.
He's got to be a dream foursome, like.
I will say
there. That's like
him or Pujols.
Yeah,
I could. Pujols and Peyton could be interchangeable. So yeah, now Peyton, there's absolutely no doubt, and we would definitely go play at Holston.
That's awesome. If you could only say one for the rest of your life, what would it be? Pin slammer or trundle?
Trundle. I mean, it just rolls off the tongue so easy.
It does.
I mean, it would be devastating to not be able to have a pin slammer, but trundle. There's so many applications to trundle. I mean, it's never ending.
Did you come up with those, or did you hear somebody say them?
I think when I was younger, some golf announcer used to say that. I feel like, and I just kind of always said it.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how much I said it until people started commenting it. And then how Pin Slammer started was way back. I accidentally edited me slamming the pen. Yeah. Like I left that in there after each birdie, and I didn't even know I did.
Yeah.
And someone commented that. They're like, oh, it's cool you slam the pen after every birdie. And I was like, oh, well, that's a thing now. So
is there a term for eagle? I feel like
So it's kind of a weird term, but the first time that I made an eagle that I can remember on the channel, I went to pick up my camera and the camera fell over.
Camera dropper.
So it kind of became a thing that I just knocked the camera over every time I make an eagle. And that's just kind of, the Pin Slammer and the camera drop an eagle just kind of happened.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Hopefully we can get out there and make some double or even triple pin slammers.
That's right.
All right, next one here. Is there a club that comes to mind that would be your least favorite club to hit a stinger with?
I would have to say a 60 degree. That just, however, I have hit a stinger and I did post it with a 60 degree. And I don't know if you're on Reddit or know about Reddit in the golf forum. I became kind of a meme. And I went out one day after the forum was filled with memes. It was kind of ridiculous. There was memes about how many memes there were. It was absurd. And so I was like, how can I embrace this?
Yeah.
So I go out the next day and I'm 2 feet off the green, pins 20 feet away.
Yeah.
And I was like, downhill lie, 60 degree, close to the green. How am I going to hit this shot? I turned and swung full, bladed it, tagged the pin. And that post Like if you had a good post on Reddit, it would take like an hour or two to get to the top trending post. That was like the top trending post in like 5 minutes.
No way.
So
just embrace the meme full on.
The top comment, I think it was the top comment. It was like one of the top ones. It was like, that's how you get hit upside the face with a meme and just walk right through it. So
I love it.
I was like, so from then on, I was kind of sort of accepted into the forum.
That's awesome. So we've talked about this a little already, but you said you're pretty much a one-man show and do a lot of stuff for yourself. So what's been the one thing that's been hardest to learn and figure out on the fly?
Probably the camera. Like when I went from phone to the camera, there's a lot more that you have to just deal with. And there's more things that can go wrong.
Yeah.
And so learning the ins and outs of how to deal with a camera and how to get the best picture definitely took some work. I went out early on, filmed an entire video, realized I filmed it in the wrong format and had to throw it out completely. There was nothing to use in that. And so you learn those lessons one time.
Yeah.
And then hopefully that's the last time you learn.
All right, more of a casual one here, but if you had to say what would be your go-to order at the turn?
So this is probably like not your typical answer. When I'm filming, I just don't think about eating. I know that's probably terrible and not what most people would say. I don't eat when I'm filming. I'm kind of so focused in on the video and finishing it. When we get done, I will pile it on. But normally I'll have like some sort of like mixed nuts and like some protein bars. And if I can get one of those protein bars down, I eat fairly healthy. So a lot of the options at like a turn place wouldn't be typically what I would eat. But being from St. Louis, being a baseball fan, I don't mind a good brat. So
that's awesome.
That was a long answer. I would probably have to say a brat if they're available there at the turn.
That's the one thing I know. Good and Brian Bros, they're always kind of eating on the channel. Yeah. Garrett's always eating and never seen it on you. Seen it on yours. Maybe have you thought about getting a brat or two in there?
Maybe I should. It's one of those things that as soon as I start filming, I don't know. I eat a lot too. Yeah. Like normally. I'm so focused that let's get this video and let's make a good video and then we'll eat some good food after that.
Yeah. And so last one, what's one piece of advice you would have for us and really just all your listeners? Very, very broadly with golf and for us, kind of the content side.
So to know when you're stepping into anything that you're passionate about and like wanting to make a career and make a living from it, to know it's not going to be easy. Yeah. Because if it was easy, everyone would do it. And I know you hear that probably a lot, but anything like worthwhile doing is going to take time and you're going to go through some ups and downs. So, give yourself like a little leeway on messing up. Yeah. And then get better and just keep getting better. And I know it's a simple thing, but like fail forward. Yeah. Like you're going to mess up. You're going to make a bad video. Something's going to go wrong, and just know that that's kind of part of the journey. And to kind of do your best to take it in stride. But at the end of the day, just try to keep getting better and give yourself time. Like, everyone wants it to happen quick. Yeah. I would say it took me 2.5 years of really putting a lot of time into it before I really made anything from social media. Yeah. And this is something that I don't really ever share. 2 years straight, I think I posted every single day on Instagram. Wow. And at night, I would DM, comment, or like post until Instagram would shut my account down every single night.
Our account's been getting shut down a lot already.
So I did that for like 2 years. I got to where, no joke, my thumbs would like hurt. Wow. And like cramp up from just commenting, DMing my post and writing a message to people, just trying to get people engaging early on. And that's a lot of stuff that people don't see behind the scenes, that anything that you're passionate about and want to make a living doing, it's going to take some time. Yeah. And you have to know that you're going to make a bad video, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
just make it better next time.
Yeah.
So.
No, we appreciate that. We can attest. We've done some practice runs with our equipment and stuff. And kind of like we were talking about earlier, got to the end and realized we didn't even hit the record button. So not going to do that again.
Yep. And that is one thing. Almost like if I'm filming now, I don't leave the camera until I hit record.
Yeah.
Like it's just part of your routine.
Yeah.
Just don't, it's okay to film an extra minute and a half and it's just rolling. At least you're getting a shot. So just don't leave the camera or the phone. Hit record before you leave it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I think that's all we have. Jackson, do you want to kind of wrap things up?
Yeah, pretty much. I did have one question for you, Zach. I'm an athlete of other sports a little bit too myself. Do you, being from a baseball background, what kind of distance do you have off the tee? Because I hear you saying that you hit 10 to 12 stingers maybe a round, which is, I can see myself hitting maybe 6 to 8, but I got to imagine you can move it a pretty good ways.
Yeah, I was on TrackMan the other day, and I was trying to create a little speed. I was flirting with 130 with driver. Back in the day, the highest I ever got on TrackMan was 137, which that's not very useful.
What kind of ball speed were you getting?
At 137, I think it was like 209.
Jeez.
And so I think ball speed at 130 was like low 190s.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things that I started working out. I grew a little bit and that definitely helped a lot, but also staying flexible. And growing up playing baseball, I was always the smallest person on the field. And so I had to learn how to create some speed. And not that baseball swing always translates to golf, but it did teach me how to create like lag. It's because I had to figure out some way to create some bat speed. So I do think that little bit did translate. I was at 12, I was like 95 pounds and like 5'6". Wow. I was like a little bitty. So
that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta be full disclaimer. I maxed out around like 180, 182 ball speed. So
dude, that's still
a little ways
great.
behind.
Yeah. I do a decent amount of speed work, and even at Louisville, I'm pretty high on the team for ball speed, and I'm low 180s too. So when I'm
that's
going,
great though.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Want to be like you?
I mean, you play with like Micah and Kyle a lot, so you keeping up with them.
Yeah, I mean, Micah. When we've played in the past, I wasn't always feeling like I had a lot of speed. Yeah. I would say me and Micah are similar. I will say there was a couple rounds we played last year, though. He was creating so much speed. It was crazy. Like he was hitting some tee shots that were absurd.
Yeah.
So even me swinging at my fastest, Micah was probably past me.
Yeah.
I think if we're both swinging really well, we're pretty similar.
Yeah.
The only guy that I ever stood next to outside of Kyle Berkshire, he's in a whole nother world.
Yeah. Imagine.
It's pretty unreal. But standing next to Tony Finau, years ago, he's the only person like competing at a high level that I thought I better pound this to keep up with him. So he played back on the NGA tour and Hooters tour years ago.
Oh, really?
So,
yeah. Looking forward to getting out there with you and being 80 yards back. But
I'm always interested when guys have like other sport backgrounds, how much speed they can create, and clearly you have a bit of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely coming from baseball, I do think that helped a lot for sure. And I played basketball, so feel like I'm decently athletic. Someone who just plays golf, never played any other sports, might be a little more difficult maybe to learn how to create speed, just because they don't have anything else to rely on. So
yeah,
I would agree for sure.
That's awesome, man. I think that, pretty much wraps up what we wanted to talk about. Really appreciate, again, you coming on. Yeah. I don't know if you have anything to add, Jackson, but it's been an awesome, first thing for our channel. It's, pretty cool. We have a lot of stuff, coming up, and hopefully we can get out there with you, maybe learn a thing or two on the course. Do you have anything to add?
No, I don't. Obviously we haven't met Zach in person, but Will had, been in contact with you, and he said great things. And I can say you're
you seem like a pretty good guy, so we really appreciate you giving us this opportunity.
Oh, dude, absolutely. I'm excited for what y'all got going, and hopefully we can get out there on the course someday, tee it up, and I'll
see how I let it fly.
That's right. Absolutely.
What's going on, guys? We just wrapped up our episode with Zac Radford, and we're really appreciative of the opportunity he gave us. We're obviously very new to the podcast industry, and he has an awesome platform through his content creation. And once again, we're just really appreciative to have him on. We got into some really good stuff about his life and some things that I had no familiarity with, to be honest. Like, he went from a 12 to a +6 in less than a year. And
it's wild. I still can't get over that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And he, just his mini tour background, he had some pretty solid events that he put together. And obviously I was familiar with his content creation and the things he can do behind the camera. But it was just cool to dive into the episode with him. And what was your favorite part of the episode, Will?
Yeah. I was honestly really interested in what he had to say about Augusta and the Masters. Talking about the undulation, it's not really something you see on TV. Of course, highlighting the peach ice cream. But yeah, it was super cool. I've gotten to know Zac. I'm also here in Nashville. But definitely still learned some new things, which was pretty awesome. And really just giving us the advice on getting into content creation. It's a daunting journey, but I know it's one I and you are super excited for. So really appreciative of that as well.
Yeah, for sure. I've been down to the Masters twice and seen that undulation firsthand, but it really is wild when you walk through the gates there. And we definitely got to get you down there at some point, Will. It's an awesome
I know. Got to get me a ticket somehow.
Yeah, for sure. We speaking of getting on the course, too, we're really looking forward to hopefully down the road getting on the course with Zac maybe this summer and getting to play with him.
Yeah. Really looking forward to that. Speaking of, I'm planning on getting a Masters invite for 2023, but we'll see how that works to compete. But awesome episode with Zac. We hope you guys enjoyed it. Please drop a like and subscribe. The support's really appreciated. We have a ton of cool stuff coming up. Ton of travel. I'm taking a trip to North Carolina. We're taking a trip to Lexington and Kentucky together, and then we got Florida and Texas coming up as well. So a lot of cool stuff, a lot of episodes with guests, a lot of getting on the course for matches. So just stay tuned. Anything you want to add?
No, I don't think so. We plan on getting behind the camera on the course with Zac at some point, and like Will said, he's coming up to my neck of the woods in Kentucky, and we're going to
haven't come up yet. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, we're going to do some awesome stuff with content, a podcast episode with a pretty well-known and prominent amateur golfer, so we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, see you guys. Can't wait.